Have you ever wanted to start a family business, or maybe you're smack dab in the middle of a family business and you need some HELP, you need some help? Well, this is where family ties and business aspirations intersect. Welcome to Naturally Brown Woman Workshop. This is a space where we explore the ins and outs of developing and thriving in a family business. In today's episode, we'll dive into the unique challenges, joys, and complexities that come with running a family business. It's not always easy. Guests today are Telly Anthony. He is Vice President and Director of Operations for This Is It Southern Kitchen and Barbecue, which happens to be the largest African-American soul food restaurant in the U.S. And yes, they are family-owned and operated. Omar Finley, he and his wife Kimberly and 3 kids are owners of The Listening Tree, a bookstore in Atlanta, Georgia, created to perpetuate a love of literacy. So let's pull out your pads, pull out your pens or your devices, and let's workshop it. Hey, gentlemen.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. Welcome to Naturally Brown Woman.
Oh, wow. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we allow men on our set.
It's special today. You know? Look, we couldn't get women without them.
That's right. Oh, wait. I just agreed to that. I just agreed to that.
Well, that would be true.
Yeah. Well, okay. Amen, sisters. So, you know what? We're talking about family businesses, which are a very unique thing, because you have to have such a balance. And to see the African-American community grow more in this area, and that's why we wanted you guys to come on and share your experiences. So Telly, I know, with your family-owned business, like we said in the intro, over 40 plus years in the restaurant business. I mean, that's almost unheard of, and to have 11 stores under your brand, a couple franchises, that's pretty amazing. So tell me, who in your family is in this family business?
Oh, wow. It's been so many people that's been a part of the business. We have to give honor and respect first to my grandparents. Mm-hmm. They started in 1951.
Yeah.
They had one of the first Black-owned restaurants in Tampa, Florida. Well before segregation.
Yes.
And when the community was a real community. And you saw so many people eat there. Yeah. There's like folklore stories that even Michael Jackson's daddy came there to buy him some fried chicken.
Yeah, and James Brown? And it was just like your grandfather's restaurant was like the talk of the town. It was the place to be. Yeah.
And so I believe what he did was he put a seed in the family. And what you see this is a manifestation of that. You see some roots and you see some branches. That's those other locations.
Yeah. So father.
My uncle has done some work here. So many siblings. I have so many siblings that participated. Currently still in the business or have been in the business. Nieces, nephews. It's a labor of love.
It's a labor of love, yeah. And you guys have a huge corporate office there that you have several employees that includes several family members in really key positions. And Omar, tell me a little bit about The Listening Tree, which is not only a bookstore, but you do entrepreneurship program for kids. So tell me how that you and your wife decide that this is what you want to do for your family.
Wow, that's a long answer. But so it really started with a book report with my son. Mm-hmm. He was going to a Christian school, and he needed to do a book report. It was like first grade, and he did it on Genesis, right? Mm-hmm. And so we were looking for some books about faith that show Black faces, right? And so we had one.
Yes. And
when we went back to go look for that book, it had been bought by a larger company and went from like $4 to like $50. So they priced it out where nobody wanted to buy it.
Right.
So we decided, you know what, we'll write one. Right. So we took his book report and basically helped him with it. We wrote it for him. It took us like 20 minutes. And that book report became a book that we wrote. It's called A World of Our Own, The Beginning.
Wow.
Okay.
And that was really the beginning, because we sold 500 books in like 90 days. But then 45 days later, we sold another 500.
Oh, wow.
And so we've been selling those books since we put them online. And so we realized that there was a market for Black books, specifically children's books that show Black faces, right? Yeah. And not just Black faces, but that have genres that create, an experience of success within the book. not a whole lot of sad endings. That's something else that we notice about books.
Yeah.
And so that's where it really started, is because we really wanted our children to have a library of their own.
Mm-hmm.
And because we saw that, what we did was we said, you know what, if we want it, I'm pretty sure that there are millions of other families who want that exact same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that was the birth of the listening tree.
Yeah. So you guys basically saw a need and create a business around the need. And maybe that's one of the key points. If someone's out there and you want to start a family business, it could be right underneath your nose. It could be a part of a struggle that you're dealing with that is like, okay, why don't I create something? I make the change that I want to see. And basically that's what you guys did. How long have you been in business?
9 years.
9 years. So how old are your sons now?
My oldest is 16, middle is 14, and my daughter is 11.
11. And so have they embraced the bookstore?
It's theirs.
It's theirs.
They own it.
They
Daddy just worked it.
You're the employee, right?
They're the CEOs.
Right.
Chairman, I get it.
I love it. So you started them at an early age of the whole business. I did my own impromptu study one time.
Yeah.
And my study was, I asked a group of kids, I said, they was young kids, like, they were like kindergartners, first graders. And I said, if you have an opportunity, when you grow up and you want to work or get a job, would you rather work, for somebody else, or would you rather have your own business? Out of that group of kids, and it was a small group, maybe 20 kids, only 2 of them actually said, I want to work in a business. Wow. And the reason they wanted to work in a business because they had parents who owned their own business. Yeah. So they saw that. All the other kids, they had parents working other places, and that's fine. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But they saw entrepreneurship, therefore they wanted to be a part of entrepreneurship. So, Telly, let me ask you, so you came into a business that was, already happening. Mm-hmm. So what age did you start working in the business?
Oh, wow, I hear stories at 5, but legally, I don't say 14.
No, I know Mr. Anthony, your father, so I can believe you probably started
very early.
Train them in the way that they should go, right?
There was no summer camp. There was go to work.
Go to work. So as you got of age, is it something that did you want to come into the business? Because that's one thing about having a family business. Maybe your children want to do it, maybe they don't. But did you decide you want to do it, or was it a period of time you had to transition into it?
I think it's a little bit of both. Mm-hmm. When you grow up around something, you always want to support it.
Yeah.
You always want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And you have that moment in life where you start to look at things and say, is this what I really want to do? Mm-hmm. I could have saw myself being a sportscaster. I could have saw myself on TV, being a personality. Some people say I got a little personality. But
big stretch. Just saying. Okay.
But what ultimately ended up happening, I saw my father with a need. Mm. And what I saw the need was he needed solid support.
Wow.
And there's a difference from an employee to an employer versus the father to a son. And so what I saw was a need to support him to help see if we can stabilize this thing so it can grow.
Yeah.
And I like to believe that God blessed that.
Yeah. That's good. Guys, we're going to be right back with Telly and Omar to talk more about business. Working a family business is easy and there's no conflict. We all just get along. We'll talk about that when we come back. They're laughing, so there's something to this. We'll be right back.
That's good.
We're just happy and everybody.
It just don't have no sauce.
Right. What you gonna do about it?
What we gonna do now?
All right.
Welcome back to Naturally Brown Woman Workshop. We are talking about how to start a family business. We're with Telly Anthony and Omar Finley. Both are business owners, both working in businesses with their families. So now there's a lot of, maybe there are misconceptions about a family business, what we think they are and things. Do y'all always just get along when you're working with somebody all day? I mean, what is it like? How do you deal with conflict? Do you have conflict?
How many?
How many conflicts?
How many conflicts?
Yeah, that's all you have.
Yeah, but it's such a delicate balance, though, because you're talking about family and people you see at home. And what is Thanksgiving like? There's a riff on the job, You can't go home and talk about work because you're all at work.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. I think when you work in the family business, the hardest thing to operate in is professional distance.
Professional distance.
Yeah.
Meaning that you have to be able to compartmentalize this business, but it becomes your life.
Yeah.
And when something's your life, it never turns off. So when you around, because you get spouses, and guess what? They don't work there. Another part, they don't live there. So I think you got to know how to make sure that you're balanced. When you're dealing with family, the hardest thing is sometimes because you spend so much time working that you're not spending enough time being a family. And I think that's something that a lot of family businesses actually struggle with. They may not talk about it. I've seen you so much, I just want to see somebody else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think it's important that you separate the two and make time for both.
Yeah.
Because you're going to go to work because this is your livelihood. But then you have to be intentional about being a family.
Yeah.
Because if not, you know what you end up becoming?
What's that?
Relatives.
Okay, write that down. Relatives. You just become just relatives. So setting something like you're saying,
I totally
you
agree.
need to set boundaries. That when you're at work, you're at work. We talk about work stuff at work, but then we're all going to clock out at some point.
At some point.
You know, I think what you have to do is you have to understand your vision up front. Because I think that's what I think conflict is. We've lost sight of what we came to do. Does that make sense?
That.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's what happens is, you know, you spend so much time together that your energies are now that you need that space to now create more electricity, if that makes sense.
I know what you're saying.
So it's a situation where, you know, you've spent what you said, boundaries, right?
Yeah.
But the truth is that set boundary is really not there.
Yeah.
So even at home, you might discuss business,
Yes.
but the reality is if you are not in a business mode at home, it's easier.
Yeah.
The challenge is when it's been a tough day on both sides. You know, my day was hectic. Her day was hectic. The children's day are hectic, and now we coming together to do family things. But in truth, we all want to be successful.
Yes.
And so she's still working. I'm still working. They got homework, and now we fuss.
Yeah.
We fight.
Right.
We getting into it with one
Yeah,
another.
yeah.
And the reality of that is, you know, we forgot what's going on.
Yeah.
And I think what happens with that sometimes, we're not present.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're not present in where we should be. Right now, I'm on the set of this incredible show.
Right.
This is not the time to just talk about whatever this is it.
Right.
This is a group setting.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times what is we lose sight of being present in the moment.
Yeah.
You spoke about children.
Yeah.
Kids will not allow you not to be present. And the moment that you choose not to be present, they finna say something to you. And that's going to resonate with them.
Yeah. So really looking at we have to learn how to turn it off. So my husband and I are in business together. We're both in this production business. So there are times in which we literally have to turn off. And like you said, sometimes one person may still like in work mode, still going, you know, it's after hours and still going. And the other person is just like, hey, wait a minute. We got to click this switch. You know, I can't go there. And my mind has like shut down. I can't go any further, you know. So just setting those limitations and those a boundary to say, hey, we got to pause for a second. And also one thing that we've done is like on Friday nights, we may make that a date night.
That's right.
We're going to talk, we're going to relax, we're going to talk about everything that's going on. And, you know, sometimes it is business, right? But we're there together versus sometimes we may have, I call them drive-by meetings, you know, where we're talking business, but we're just kind of driving by real quick versus going like, okay, now let's sit down and breathe, relax, computers off. And now let's
You said
talk.
something right there
What's
because
that?
you said tablets.
Yeah.
They have tablets. They have phones.
Yes.
They have computers.
Yeah.
At some point, all of those things need to turn off.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think what happens is, again, back to being present.
Yeah.
You ever see somebody on the phone talking to you? And they're just kind of,
Yeah. That irritates the mess out of me.
come on.
I promise you. That's so when you talking about that right there, that for me, I check out.
There we go.
So if you're gonna talk to the phone, don't talk to me.
Come on now.
Yeah.
It's a wrap.
Come on now.
I'm walking out the room.
Come on now.
So because the reality,
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Because and here's the thing, I ain't mad at you. But either you here with me,
Yeah.
or you there with the phone.
Yeah.
on now.
It's about
gotta
being
make a decision.
about
You
being
need to show
present.
me what's
It's
your
about being
priorities.
present.
Right. That's
Yeah.
a fact.
And I do believe, again, though, part of this question is we got to understand to be intentional about our priorities.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's so easy to lose
To mix
that
it up.
balance.
Yeah. Yeah. In a
It's
family
easy.
business. Yeah.
And that's what I was getting at when I talked about vision, because every time that we know what we came to do,
Yeah.
it goes well.
Yes.
Every single time.
The
I
mission
can't
statement.
think of a time when we sat down, we understood what we came to talk about, we knew
Yeah.
what we were getting ready to do. Like, so for example, you mentioned Fridays. For us, Friday is a usually it's pizza and wings, game night. We have a good time with the children. We don't talk about business at all.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Right? Sunday is very similar.
Yeah.
So Friday and Sunday is really more like family days, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
we almost naturally don't go into it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, at that very same time, we still take a little time to ourselves away from the children
Yeah.
to, I guess, to decompress
Yeah. Yeah.
from the rest of the week.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
follow me?
Oh, just
Yeah.
life in general.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so many pools.
Yeah.
You know, how many titles?
Too many. Too many.
Parent,
Right.
spouse,
Come on.
Yeah.
manager.
Come on.
How many employees?
Let me see. Accountant.
Oh, come on now.
What is it? Graphic designer.
Yeah.
Boy, HR.
Right. HR.
Yeah.
You know,
Counselor.
Come on.
Your counseling.
council slash pastor.
Right.
Will you pray for me?
Right.
all that. All
We're
that.
supposed to be
Yeah.
clocked in.
We
Yeah.
gotta make sure. And now for me, because we started, I got to throw this one in.
Okay.
Janitor.
Oh yeah.
Hey, you know what my nickname is, right? My nickname is the executive dishwasher.
And all those things are very important because one thing we have to consider is the burnout factor.
Yes.
We don't want to burn out when we're with
Yes.
in our family businesses and working. And when you're at the head of even just entrepreneur, we put the hours in, we put the
Yes.
work in. So we have to prevent burnout. So we're going to talk about more with Telly and Omar when we come back, more about how to build a family business. How do you balance it all? And what are the pros and cons? If you're thinking about starting a family business, what are some things you should consider, right? Because you want to have that balance. At the end of the day, you want a happy family. You know, you want to be able to have Thanksgiving without having to have something in your mind when you know that there's an elephant in the room or something you haven't addressed.
Get a little crazy
We
looking
don't want
now.
to. Don't want an ugly Thanksgiving.
We're
Yeah.
going to get the last bit of that macaroni and cheese.
I want to throw that in there just before we go for real. You got to have crucial conversations.
Yeah.
You really do.
Yeah.
You have to sit down and say, hey, look, this is an issue,
Yeah.
but we can get a solution to it.
Come on now.
Let's deal with it now,
Yeah.
so it doesn't become bigger later.
Yeah.
And when I really, just being straight as we go in,
Yes.
I really believe that when we do, and I won't say believe, but we have had success when we have those conversations.
Yes.
We've
Yeah.
had more conflict when we have not.
Right.
Yes.
Does that make
Yes,
sense?
it does. Open communication
Right.
is the key because you
Right.
got to talk about it.
Yes.
Because that can fester.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, it's a whole nother. It's like, how did we get way over here in left field?
He
How did we
just
get
said
here?
something that was just, I think that is, I know we're
Look,
going to break.
we're going to break. Look, see, we can't stop talking because this is just so fascinating and so
real.
good. So we're going to come back and we're going to talk more about building that family business because we want you to be successful in it. And that's why we want to share this information with you. So yeah, take a break. We're going to take a break, but don't go too far. All right. Good stuff.
Good energy?
Good stuff.
Good energy.
Yes. Yes. So you guys are like, put that card away.
Oh, you should have. I'm telling you.
We are continuing our conversation on how to build a family business with Omar Finley of The Listening Tree and Telly Anthony of This Is It, Southern Kitchen and Barbecue. It's all good, both based in Atlanta, Georgia. So at the break, we were talking about several things, but one thing is like conflict resolution. How do you resolve conflict? And, being married, you and your wife together in business together, what have you learned over these years about conflict resolution?
I get my phone out.
So just for the record, we just hit 18 years, May 21st this year.
Congratulations.
I appreciate it. And but I was saying that, you know, as a man, it took me a long time to understand a woman's vent.
A woman's vent.
A woman's vent.
Okay.
And that, you know, because sometimes, you know, and I would tell you, because we're both very, very driven, right? She's just as driven as I am. Sometimes more so.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And sometimes what happens is that drive turns into a vent at the same time. It's real talk. I'm being real with you. So she's driven, she's working, and then she's venting, and I'm there, and I'm angry.
So tell me what
and
it
I'm
looks
ready
like.
to go off.
Tell me what it looks like.
That's what I'm saying.
Tell me what that looks like when you say that.
I felt that, Tammy. I gotta hold on for a second. I felt that as a man.
Okay, so she's driven, so she's focused on a task.
Yeah.
And then she's
which is why I married her in the first place.
Is why you married her, right?
Yeah.
Y'all balance. Then she's venting.
Yeah.
And tell me what that looks like.
Right.
Tell me what that looks like.
It looks like her saying exactly what she wants to say in that moment, and she doesn't want me to respond.
Oh, that's called listening.
Right.
That's when we don't want you to answer. We don't want you to solve the problem.
Right.
We don't want you to save us. No Captain America, no hero. All we want you to do is listen.
The challenge, you know how we talk about it? The challenge is when you're in it and judging whether or not it's happening. I hope in the moment you got to again being present. So what happens is, you know, we know for sure. You need to be aware. You need to let her speak. You need to let her vent. But challenge sometimes it goes literally from one conversation to vent, and I'm not sure when we cross over.
You mean to that part that we now want you to speak?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it took me years to catch it.
Okay.
It took me years to catch Kimberly's vent.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
So when you start talking about business, you know, I think it's important that we understand that part, because that could really be a destroyer of progress throughout the day.
Yeah.
You know, because like at times where we've had the knockdown, drag out argument, I'm not productive for the rest of the day. I can't lie to you. If my wife not in order,
yeah,
You're thinking about it all day.
it bothers me.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But if I know that she was able to say what she had to say,
yeah,
get it out.
Yeah.
She might not be in the best space, but I know I didn't mess her up.
yeah.
Did that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so in that sense, I can go on my day and keep on working.
Keep the business going, continue the business, and so forth on. And she can continue the business as well.
Right.
Now you have siblings. You're working with several siblings in the business. They all have different positions.
Yes.
You have a Nina trainer.
Yep.
Butch Jr. He's manages several stores. Tina's in operations. She's in the administrative office. You got cousins and uncles and things like that. Now, my question is, and you're like VP over operations, so you're kind of managing all of this. How do you vet? You know, people vet employees. You know, how do you vet? How do you know when someone's ready to work in the store? And then how do you tell them, like, hey, dude, maybe you're doing a great job. You know, that usually great jobs are really easy. It's easy to say you're doing a great job, but how do you say, hey, cuz, I don't know if you can work for the company. Yeah.
So I call it a come to Jesus meeting. And I'd rather have that meeting with you earlier than later. The first part of this is all of us have to respect the business.
Respect the business.
Respect the business.
Yeah.
If you don't respect the business, we don't have a common ground. Because you got to remember, I'm VP of This Is It. I'm not VP of the family. And I think that's the part everybody has to understand. Somebody has to have the title.
Yeah.
Somebody has to have the position.
Yes.
But guess what? Keeping that, again, in that professional balance, professional distance, this is what we do day to day for our livelihood. This is not what we do as a family. And it has to, again, to have that balance there.
That's good.
Because what happens, again, we talk about wearing these masks, wearing all these titles, knowing when the event is happening versus the listening should be taking place. How do you transition?
Yeah.
You know, and so what I tell anybody that's dealing with a family business, know your position, respect that business. And when something happens, the hardest thing I think for most families, even if you're not in family business, just period, is forgiveness. Conflict resolution. He said something that I agree with 100%.
Yeah.
You have so much control as a woman, Tammy. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Did you know how much control you have over Alvin and he don't even talk about it? Alvin, I probably shouldn't be saying
Keep talking. What else?
But we carry so much because we are the protector. That's what God called us to do.
Yeah.
He told us to, if you take this on, it's your responsibility. And if any man has a responsibility, he's going to see it all the way through.
Yeah.
And so when you're dealing again with family members, another responsibility.
Yeah.
But now guess what happens when there's that conflict, when we don't see eye to eye?
Yeah.
The one thing I tell everybody to pray for, pray confusion out of your circles. Right?
That's a word.
Confusion is the mother of all issue.
Yeah.
Because if you get rid of the confusion,
Yeah.
he said something I just love, because there's been dialogue back and forth.
Yeah.
He said something so beautiful. Once we knew the mission, we accomplished it.
Yeah. Always going back to the vision.
Absolutely.
Back to the vision.
Because you can easily get away from the vision, but just
back to
going
it.
back.
Yeah, because that if we keep it in front of us, like you mentioned, like so for example, I got to just jump it out. I'm gonna say it so our mission is to perpetuate a love of literacy, learning, and entrepreneurship in our global community.
Yeah.
And I'm listening to this is it.
Yeah.
And he says 1951, and here you are, grandson,
Grandson, that's
Yeah.
right.
family business,
That's right.
and you got family running all through it,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
That doesn't happen without the vision being right in front of us.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right. And so the issue becomes if anytime we have conflict, put the vision in front and we'll be able to at least determine where we lie
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah.
today.
That's
Yeah.
right.
That's
You know.
good. That's good. I like what you said also a few minutes ago that I'm vice president of the company, not of the family. When we have Thanksgiving dinner,
Yeah, that was
I'm not vice president at Thanksgiving dinner. I'm brother, I'm husband, I'm all those, I'm son, I'm all those
Third
things.
parent.
I'm a third parent, I'm all those things. Because your son, I mean, we're talking about many generations.
Yes.
Your granddad, your dad, you and your son. I saw pictures of your son early age. And by the way, guys, This Is It has a beautiful documentary. It's a wonderful story. You've got to see it. It is well written and directed.
I think I know the person that did that.
Is that right?
Where's she at? Anyway.
But
If you
anyway,
get a chance to see it, it was wrote by this nigga named Tammy.
Daniel Williams. Let me tell you.
It had a lot to do with it too, but it's an incredible team. So let me tell you.
Yeah. I am biased because it's a beautiful story. It's a beautiful story of family, faith, flavor,
and
favor. It's a beautiful story, very inspirational story. When we come back, we're going to talk some more about the pros and cons of having a family business, and we're going to talk about the next generation and money concerns. Who's up next in the family and how you lay out those plans. We'll be right back after this beautiful message. Yeah.
Wow.
You guys are amazing.
Good synergy at the table.
Welcome back to Naturally Brown Woman Workshop. We are still talking about building a family business. There's so much that we can talk about on this topic, so much information we can share with you. Let's start off with talking about the pros. What are the benefits of working in a family business? My husband and I work together, as I mentioned earlier. There's things that you learn, but like you said, we said during the break, wouldn't trade it for a thing.
Yeah. No.
At all.
I don't want
it.
any other way. Because, I would say the biggest pro to it is probably the fact that you can discuss the inner workings of business any time of day, right? It may it works out different for different days, but just a simple fact that it's yours.
Yes.
That you're not quitting on it.
That's right.
You know, and it's the whole family is involved.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, if somebody taps out for today,
Yeah.
they can't tap out on the family.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, you tapped out. You might tap out for 2 weeks.
Take a break.
Take a break. Go for it.
Come on.
We'll be here when you get back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the reality is, it's always there.
Yeah.
And if you know that you're gonna, grow with it,
Yeah.
you'll, it's just nice to be able to discuss business at the dinner table with your children.
Yeah.
So for me, that's the big deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is legacy, and knowing that we can talk about just about anything going forward with what's happening in our business.
Yeah. Yeah. What about for you, Taylor? What would be the biggest pro for you in family business?
Biggest pro, I'm gonna say sharing moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're sharing moments. This is life we're
That's
going
right.
through.
Yeah.
There's no script for this.
Yeah.
Good, bad, ugly, and different.
Yeah.
I think when you sit back and look at things and from a perspective, having some good perspective, you'll take advantage of the small things as well as the big things.
Yeah.
Oh man, we just had a great moment recently. We've had 7,000 people in under 7 hours.
Wow.
This small
That's a
company
lot.
that started its first day in Atlanta selling $142 worth of product in 24 hours just did a $150,000 job.
Wow.
7,000, 7 hours. What does that break down to?
Man,
Almost.
hurt feelings at the end. But it was.
Yeah.
But again, I want to encourage people to understand, live in that moment.
Yeah.
If you live in the moment a little better, you'll start to cherish what you're actually going through. I think a lot of times we go through instead of actually experiencing.
Yeah.
We just want to get through.
Yeah.
I tell you to experience it.
Yeah.
Customers, any business that you're in, they're the life of your company.
Yeah.
But when you're working with family, you got to remember that you got to give them some customer service too.
That's right.
And
That's
sometimes
good.
we
Come
don't
on.
do it now.
Yeah.
That's
Sometimes
good.
we don't give the family what we give others.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to speak to you. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Hey, you. No, that's not how you do that.
Yeah.
You actually got to me, because of what they have to carry,
Yeah.
you have to protect them. You
Yeah.
have to guard them.
Yeah.
You have to show them that they mean something.
That's right.
And when you do that consistently, then they're going to run through a wall for you. Everybody's not built like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think when you get into the moments of this business and life, I tell you, look for your moment every day.
Look for your moment.
Look for your moment to
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah.
Because what's happening today necessarily won't happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
It won't. We talked about being full circle
Yeah, that's right.
earlier.
That's right. That's right. You might meet the same place at a different time,
That's right.
right? But it will never be the same,
Never
Yeah.
be the same.
right?
Yeah.
But the reality is that moment is what builds the momentum
That
in
is
your
true.
business, right?
Yeah.
That's true.
Because the reality is moment after moment after moment after momentum,
Oh,
now
man.
your business
Come
is
on.
actually flowing, right?
But
And
this
see,
is
that's
Create
the
a
reality.
momentum.
Momentum. We put it together.
You put it
Moments,
together.
like so. It's engineering.
I
right?
love it.
So
I love it.
You measure the moment,
There we go.
right? But if you keep measuring each moment,
You
put
pick
the
up
moments
momentum.
Together,
you
Momentum.
have momentum.
you know what I love about that?
You see,
Because we're in unit. We're doing it together. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Momentum builds.
right? And so you start to look back, like you say, moments. You start to look back, and those moments are now memories that
Come
you
on
enjoy.
now.
You remember the good, the bad, the ugly, but here what you remember. You remember you didn't quit.
Come on. Now.
You remember you kept on
We
going.
was right
Yeah.
there.
Come on.
We bonded.
Listen.
Yeah.
And when they say blood, sweat, and tears,
Yeah.
it's amazing. Kind of how all of them end up being liquid at some point. And you know what I call that liquid? Liquid love.
Look at love. Look at love.
Liquid love.
Yeah.
Liquid love.
Yeah.
And so when you embrace that,
Yeah.
how can you not be family?
Yeah.
How can somebody that works around you can't become family?
Come on. But that's what it is, right?
That's what it is.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
A lot of times, people, I've heard, there it is. There's a friend that sticketh closer than a brother,
Come on now.
right?
Come
That's
on
the
now.
one that shows up
Come on now.
when nobody else does.
Always.
See, when you're doing business, you got to show up.
That's right.
Yeah.
You got to be. Woo.
You got to show up.
You got to show up.
And that's the reality. That's a pro though.
Yeah.
See the pro of it, the pro really is showing up,
That's right.
because you can't experience anything
Anything.
unless you're there.
What's the best
Yeah.
ability? Availability.
Availability. I'm with you.
And if you're not
That's good.
available for this moment,
That's good.
Yeah.
guess what?
Yeah.
What can we do?
But you know how good I am. But you wasn't here.
You know what I heard? I heard somebody say the other day. They said, you know, you talk about people say if you don't know better, if you know better,
You do
You
better.
do better.
you do better, right?
better.
We say that, right?
All the
Right.
time.
But the reality is, it don't count until you do it.
Come on now.
How much stuff do we really know
Come on now.
that we don't do?
That's right.
And the first part is showing up.
You got to be
Yeah.
there. He said something I want to make sure we hit.
What?
Be the best version of you.
Come on.
When you're working in a family, don't be the best version of someone else.
Yeah.
I need the best version of Telly. I need Telly to be present. I need Telly to be available. And I need Telly to be in this moment.
Right.
But I can't do that trying to be my father.
Yeah.
I can't be that trying to be my brother
Yeah.
or my sister
Yeah.
and vice versa.
Well, I think you said
Let me ask you right here. You just mentioned
for it.
you can't be your father, right? And you're like the second person in charge. Did you ever feel the pressures or the comparison of being your father, as you too have a son coming up? Two sons, right? Two
right.
sons in the business, of them trying to be the daddy and not really being themselves. Did you ever lose yourself in that?
So the first thing you deal with is something called the nature of the beast. The nature of this beast is to look at whoever the beginning is and then compare the successor. So whatever that beginner, whoever's in that leadership role,
Yeah,
they're trying to point at you to see everything that you don't have.
yeah,
They want to point at you to see everything that you're not able, so quote on, to do. I remember coming in the store, kind of when I first got into a upper management role. And they, this is it, it's about cooking. And so I remember the guy took his keys out, threw them at me. And he said, you do it. And here's the truth, I couldn't. But for the next 2 years, I dedicated myself
yeah,
to make sure this will never happen
that's
again.
right.
yeah,
That's why you have to go through
That's right.
Yeah.
so that I got my own
That's
momentum.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
And so the next time that happened, it was, I'll see you later.
yeah,
I didn't fire you. I just said,
Yeah.
there's a parting of the ways. So when you're looking at someone, following greatness, it's not easy. When you have that person that has those, what they call it, big shoes to fill,
yeah.
I have to have my own shoes on.
Your own shoes on.
And I have to remember that, pay respect
Yeah.
to the shoes that laid the path for me.
But
Yeah.
wear your own.
Or wear your own.
That's good.
And how do you manage with your son? Not you're laughing. I don't know why yet.
I'm listening.
Not him to have those pressures of being just like dad. Of course, he wants to run the business,
Yeah.
right?
So the number one thing that I tell both my sons and my daughter too, but the reality is I tell them, I'm going to love you anyway. Like I really want you to get that. I want you to
Yeah.
understand that you could lose it all.
Yeah,
It ain't going to change the way I love you.
yeah,
And that I think that relieves the pressure of
Yeah.
trying to be me. Because I don't
Yeah.
want you to be me. Matter of fact, you've got my DNA,
yeah,
but I want you to be a better version of me.
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
And so I need you to understand that I'm teaching you at your age what I never knew.
Amen.
I had to learn it all myself,
Amen.
right? But what I want to do is I want you to platform from me, right?
Yeah.
And so in that sense, I just tell them, hey, look, doesn't matter if it works, if it doesn't, I'm going to love you anyway, but just understand,
yes,
if it doesn't work, we will fix it.
yes,
You know
And
what I
so,
heard?
and so,
I heard dad first.
yeah,
I just think it's important to keep bringing that out again.
Yeah.
Separate. the
separate,
two.
yeah,
that's right.
Know when to blend, because you
Yeah.
can't say they'll be completely separate.
Yeah.
But you gotta have these dad moments.
yeah,
Well, I'm gonna
You
be,
gotta have these family
well, I
moments.
got to say this, man. So for me, that's actually, to be totally honest with y'all, we talking business, but my biggest goal in life is to be a good father, to be a good husband, to be a good father, but specifically a father, because I grew up, my father died when I was 6. And I thought that I knew what I needed to know until I got to be about 22. I'm serious. And then I hit 22, and you have bills, you got responsibility, you got to fix the car, you got to fix what's going on at the house,
Life.
You got, you know, I'm thinking I'm in a relationship. I got somebody saying stuff to me and I don't quite know where it's coming from. And I realize, and then I got friends who had fathers and I see that they able to keep their cool. Are you following what I'm trying to say? They balance.
Yeah.
And so the only reason I'm saying all that is because all of that brought me to a point where I said, you know what, if I can be a good father, well then my sons and my daughter, they can be a little bit better than me going forward.
Yeah.
And I think we start there and then we do business.
Yeah.
That's right.
You know what? That's so good, because I think that eliminates family members feeling like they're a product.
That's right.
That I'm here to run the business and I'm getting more business from you than I'm getting daddy love from you.
Yeah.
And that could be a big problem.
That's right.
So really balancing all that. I'm not just a product. I'm not just your employee, but I need to see some of that love.
Yeah. Huge.
So when we come back, joining us at the Natural Brown Woman workshop table is Brandon Sherman. He is a banker. So he's going to come in and break it all down to us, talk about the succession planning and several questions that businesses need to ask, families need to ask before going into business, or if you're in business, some questions you may still need to ask right now, okay? We'll be right back right after this very, very important message. Good stuff. Good stuff.
No, that's you, man. That's energy.
Jeez, man. Welcome back to Naturally Brown Woman Workshop. Now we are on the set still with Telly and Omar, but joining us is Brandon Sherman. He's had over 27 years in the banking industry. He's vice president and also just a banking executive who's over, how many markets are you over?
22 markets.
22 markets.
Yes.
So he is doing great things in this business. So we figured, who better to come in and talk about family business than a guy like Brandon, the banking, because money is a huge part of family business, because you go into business to make a profit, right? To make a profit. So let's just start off, just overall on the big screen of things in businesses. How do family businesses do?
Family businesses, it's a mixed bag. It really depends on if that family has had a lineage of family business that was successful, or if that family has the education apparatus to be successful, or if they're just a hobbyist trying to get into something. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Or if they're getting into something haphazardly and trying to get into it.
Yeah.
Those who prepare and have some type of undergirding and understanding of how businesses work, they do well, as opposed to those who just get into it and try to pretty much make themselves an employee and say, I have a business. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So that's the two different things that happen there. It's a mixed bag.
Yeah. And what are some of the businesses that have really succeeded, some of the top family businesses around?
Well, those who can make it past 2 years succeed. And of course, restaurants are one of the businesses that come out the most, or people start the most, but can they make it past 2 years? That's the big question.
Yeah, and we have Telly over here
So we have, this is it. We know this is it. It's 40 plus. So, but restaurants, we also see a lot of people getting into the hair business, so hair products. You're also seeing now a big thing that's happening with people getting into, I'm not going to call it pharmaceuticals, but with legalizing of certain things, you're seeing that business starting to come along now. And again, it's not always proven. You know what I mean?
Right.
Of course, we had the whole vaping thing that was popular for a second, and that just kind of went the way of the world.
Right.
But you have those kind. And you also have some businesses where people are doing online, online platforms and becoming influencers online. So that's also been something that's been new and starting to progress.
Yeah, all those businesses are really great business ideas. So, you may have a lawn care service, or maybe even say sewing business or a cleaning business. All kinds of businesses that people can get into. So you may have an idea out there and you're wondering if this idea is good or great, or if I should start a business on that. What should they do? What are some questions that a family should ask before going into business?
Yeah, well, I would definitely say the biggest thing is make sure, if you're going to have a family business, the person you're going to have lead it have some understanding about that business, some passion around it, some education around it, and it's not just something that's going to help us to make money. Money is always the byproduct of doing successful business. It should not be the sole reason why you get into business. And so I would say, and then the main thing is not to think that you can set this up like a personal account.
Yeah.
So let me put my banker's hat on since I am the banker in the room, okay?
Yeah.
You can't have one checking account for your business like you have for your household. And you shouldn't do that for your household either.
Yeah.
But when you're doing a business account, you got to have some kind of way of tracking your expenses, right? So you should have an expense account. Some kind of way of tracking taxes. That's a big one because you got to pay the tax man. You got to have some way of tracking the payments through your merchant services that are coming through.
Yeah.
So track those payments that are coming through merchant services. So you have to have ways to see clear lines of the money that's leaving out through expenses, the money that's coming in through your merchant services, and the money that's also going out through taxes. So you have to be able to see what the clear lines of where the money's going. If you have it all in one pot, you're not going to know what's going on.
So don't mix your personal and your business together. They've got to be separate.
They've got to be separate. They've got to be separate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think what he was also saying is that you've got to even have separate accounts within your business.
Yes.
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 So that you can recognize those lines that are going.
Yeah.
Because
Very much so.
that's big.
It's true. I mean, it's and so what happens a lot of times, even if fraud would have happened to you,
Yes.
how can you really see what a fraud happened or if someone in your business is stealing from you? If it's all in one pot, you can't see clearly what's going on. The other thing I would say is that, if you're going to do a business for real, have a good bank, okay? Have a good banker that you can talk to, someone that you can talk to about your loan, your needs for loans and your accounts and merchant services and everything. Have you a good CPA, a good accountant that can help you to understand how that works and taxes. So you got to have these good people that are going to help you have a team.
Yeah, and not just Uncle Jim who
there you go.
who just happen to know how to put a number in a little square.
Right.
Yeah, you need a little bit more than that.
Right.
Yeah.
And lastly, I'll say
Uncle Jim gets training that he needs.
Yeah, exactly. And lastly, I'll say if you have a number of kids like Mr. Anthony has in his family and amongst his siblings, you can't just put anybody, in any role. You need to assess the strengths of the people on your team.
Yeah.
And some of your kids shouldn't be in the business. Some of your kids may not. Like my dad had a business. It was cement and finishing. And it's called Thornton and Sons. And, after a couple of summers of working with him, he said, you know what, Brandon? This ain't for you.
Did you get fired?
Do something else. I tried to roll the wheelbarrow up the 2x4 and dumped over to the side. He said, you know what? This ain't for you, son. And I'm his youngest son, youngest of 4. And guess what? He said, you know what? It ain't for you. And thank God he did, because I got into banking and I figured my way out. But, I didn't have to work these hot summers,
right,
in New Orleans in the heat. But you got to be able to tell your kids, hey, it's not for you. That's not your thing. It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, God has another plan for you.
He has another plan for you. We're going to promote you to an outsider on that one.
Then I'm going to be the banker for the business.
This is really great. And we have more information we want to share with you when we come back. Let's talk about the succession plan. How important that is for a family business.
Yes.
So we'll talk about that and more when we come back on Naturally Brown Woman with a few men in our workshop.
Yes.
That's excellent. That's excellent, Brandon.
good.
You got fired from your daddy's life?
I did. I got fired as a teenager. I still got marks on my hand to prove it. Like I got a cut on my hand right here still, that's showing. Working, man, listen.
Welcome back to Naturally Brown Woman. We are so excited to have in our workshop today 3 brilliant men who have excellent businesses or have family businesses. It is Omar Finley with the Listening Tree. He and his wife and 3 children run that family business. We have Telly Anthony, part of the This Is It barbecue with Southern Kitchen and Barbecue with over 40 years of a family business. And of course, we have our banker, Brendan Sherman, who's here to kind of help bring it all together. Mm-hmm. So guys, I have a couple of questions as we get ready to wrap today, and little true and false statements, so feel free to jump in at any time. We like to break myths and stereotypes and let the truth emerge.
All right.
So here we go. So succession planning It's not necessary in a family business because family members will naturally take over when the time comes.
False.
False.
How big can the F be?
I'm telling you, that's a big false right there.
Yeah.
That would be false.
How important is it to have things written down? Would that not cut down confusion when you have 5 kids?
Yes.
That could be next month.
Yes. I'll say this to you all. And from the banking standpoint, let's say, for instance, your business is good enough to get to a George Foreman grill level, right?
Yeah.
Well, because that business is built on a personality, the bank, if he receives a loan from the bank will get something called key man insurance.
That's right.
That's insurance just on him. And if anything happens to him, that personality, then the loan will be covered if he were to go away, because that's how serious succession is. Okay.
Yes.
So it's very important that you not only have, insurance on that key person for a banking standpoint, but if you don't have succession going down to prove or show what's going to happen next, or if this personality is pulled out, can this business still sustain itself? Then you're going to have some issues.
Yeah,
so I love it, the fact that this is it, not giving him a plug, but Mr. Shelley Butch Anthony has in his photos, it's always him and Telly together. He's showing you the succession plan right there.
Yeah,
And so that voice is not just about the rib tips, right?
Yeah.
But you can see Telly's voice, and you can see him in the commercials and everything together. So
Yeah.
you see clearly a line of succession that makes everybody comfortable.
Yeah.
So that's so important. I love how that's already embedded in their brand. You know what I mean?
Yes. Brilliant.
Wow.
Number 2, true or false? The dynamics of a family business can significantly impact the success or failure of the business. The dynamics of a family business.
True.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
That's very true.
That's true.
Very true.
Yeah.
Explain.
Those kids that didn't like each other growing up, sometimes they don't become adults that like each other.
Yeah.
You got to know, again, he said it perfectly. You said separate the accounts, right?
That's right.
You said put some distance between each one of those numbers.
That's right.
That's right.
I think it's the same thing when it comes down to that question there. Or, just because, again, we're family don't mean we mix our ways together.
Yeah.
And you got to know what we need to work at and what we need to be family at.
Yeah. And, this next question is about communication. We've talked a little bit about it earlier, but it says, true or false, in a family business, it's a statement, not a question, communication tends to be less complicated and more straightforward compared to non-family business.
False.
That's very false.
I say false.
Big false.
And I say false on that one because just the fact that you are family and business, you already have a kind of conundrum. It's already a kind of double whammy.
Yeah.
Because family, you're not, if somebody's not your family, then the lines are very clear. We're here for business.
That's right.
Yeah.
You follow me? Somebody is your family. You're not sure if you got on their nerves this morning.
Yeah.
You're not sure if you did something to them in the bathroom, right? You just don't know what happened.
That's right.
Right.
And so now I'm talking about something very specific, as if, we're talking about an accountant, we're serious. But I pissed you off. Pissed you off 2 hours ago.
Right.
You talking to me from
Here we go.
a different side. So now
Blurred lines.
Yeah.
blurred lines.
Yes.
And so I would change that to say it's actually clearer when the person is not family than when the person is.
Yeah. It's not always as straightforward because you have to be delicate.
Yeah.
That delicate balance. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a thin line between love and hate. It's what
Very much
the
so.
saying is. And so for banks, we can get a little nervous sometimes when it's a family business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the communication piece, it really varies on when everything is good, it's good.
Yeah.
But as soon as there's a divorce or somebody's angry and someone wants to come and close an account, or someone wants to come do a loan, someone wants to go in a different direction, then it gets really hairy. You know what I mean? So you got to really make sure that you have some clear communication and things set in stone for how to move forward.
Yeah.
And you're saying that succession plan actually places that in the right place.
It does.
It's like a wheel.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm not saying a wheel is a different scenario, but it has a lot of similarities. It's giving you direction.
Yeah.
And when this institution doesn't see direction, How much money did I ask for?
Exactly.
He's like, what's your family status?
That's right.
Complicated.
Exactly.
What's your Facebook status? Complicated.
Complicated.
And this leads right into the next one. True or false? In a family business, it's important to establish clear roles and responsibilities for family members involved in the business.
True.
It's true
Big
for all
true.
parties.
Big true.
Clear roles.
And I'll say this,
I think that's true for business.
everybody, I think every parent knows their kids.
Yeah.
Every parent and every family know who's the favorite as well.
Yeah.
And sometimes the favorite wants to have the higher role,
That's right.
but they're not qualified for the higher role.
Take your time. Say that one more time.
You know, that
That's
oldest
good.
title.
Exactly.
good.
I'm the oldest, so I should be the boss.
Right.
I can tell y'all right now, and I have four. I'm youngest of four, and when my mom was getting ready and she transitioned, passed away, the worst thing I could say she did was she actually gave me her life insurance policy. Well, and I'm the youngest. So of course when that day came and I had to take care of everything, I kind of saw why. Don't knock up my siblings.
You don't want to.
I kind of saw why. Why she said, I'm going to slide this to him.
Because Mama knew.
Mama knew.
Understood.
Mama knew, okay?
Mama
knew what's really going on.
Oh my gosh. This has been such an enriching show today, talking about family business. So I pray and I believe that the people, out there listening and you're wanting to start a family business, I think there's some very valuable information that has been shared on
Very much
today.
so.
Yes.
Final thoughts. Any final thoughts, Brandon?
Yes, I would say definitely be prayerful about a family business. This is not a game. My saying is that life is a full contact sport. Wimps need not apply.
Amen.
Yeah.
And so starting a small business is a full contact sport.
Yeah.
Wimps need not apply. Get yourself prepared. Preparation is key when you're going to do a business. Get some education. Go to SBA SCORE. Get some free training from them. Go to the Small Business Development Center. Get some training from them, and you can get off to a good foundation and get your business going.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Amar?
Yeah, just the same. I say prioritize, right? I think if you're going to start a family business, always understand that you're going to put your family first.
That's right.
Yeah.
Is you see the issue usually I think becomes if you jump out here and start thinking that your business is first, but then you come home and you got a mess. If you just prioritize and make sure family's first, I think what you'll find out is that you'll be able to draw those lines, you'll be able to set those boundaries, and you'll be able to have clear conversations with people like Brandon,
Yes.
right?
Very
Yeah.
much
Because the issue becomes an issue when family's not taken care of.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so
That's good.
I think that would be my thought on that.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Taylor?
That's great. I mean, everything was said was just right on. I think everybody should understand again that balance.
Yeah.
I think that is so important to be able to make sure all parties are
Yeah.
qualified when it's time. And again, we don't want to gain the world and lose our family,
That's right.
but we also want to know that we do have to turn a profit.
Yeah.
And so I leave with respect that business.
Yeah.
If you're not into that business, don't leech from it.
Right.
Don't take from it because that spot is deserving of somebody.
That's good.
When we get at a certain age, ain't nobody little brother, little sister no more.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
So respect those people as people, although you may have saw them in their youth.
Yeah.
See them as adults.
Yeah.
See that person as see your parent as your CEO. See your mom or dad as your chairman. And when you start to respect those lines in business,
Yeah.
things come together better.
That's good.
It's like not getting so familiar
Come
that
on
you
now.
forget.
Come on now.
That you forget. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this discussion.
Thank you for having us.
It was
Great
excellent.
discussion.
And as we end this fascinating discussion on developing a family business, we want to emphasize the importance of teamwork,
Yes.
communication, and shared values. Building and sustaining a family enterprise is a unique journey filled with its own set of challenges and rewards. So today we've kind of explored strategies for harmonizing family dynamics with business aspirations. I love that word, aspirations. But remember that open and honest communication is the bedrock of a successful family business, and shared vision can guide you through many storms that you'll go through. So whether you're a seasoned family business owner or just beginning to consider this path, know that you're part of a vibrant community. You're part of a vibrant community who are coming together to build a legacy.
Yes.
You know, a legacy of hope, a legacy of faith, just leaving something behind, right? And it's nothing that we can take for granted.
Right.
Can't take it for granted. So thank you guys for joining us for Naturally Brown Woman. You know, until next time, just continue building your legacy, fostering unity, and celebrating the strength. And there's strength in a family business. We want you to do this thing.
Yes, let's do it.
Always remember to take care of yourself, be kind to yourself, and be kind to others.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Awesome.